writing up a whole paper on that.
And
right
it
now.
was synced up together.
It was beautiful
Yes.
to see afterwards. actually.
Really,
Yeah.
how they like the syncing.
Yeah, it was gorgeous, and
Exactly.
she was so excited.
She
Why
did
are we
some
stuck
research
up,
on-
Alan? Do you hear me?
Look at the dance. It was
Really,
it was
the
it
two
was
of
a
you were
dance between the
totally-
masculine and
Our
feminine.
brain
And
waves
your
together.
brains,
They were writing
you know
up
It
that.
was,
a
and it
paper
shows
on
that this.
that.
Oh,
It
it
And
was
when he
like
was
crazy.
then at one point, you were feeding me,
Yes.
and it showed how he was feeding me, and I was accepting it.
Okay, we're going to show that.
We can say here that on the left, we are seeing Lihi with some gamma frequencies up at the top, but primarily a lovely awakened mind pattern here in the lower frequencies, with an upturned delta, meaning really good connection with her unconscious mind. Here is gamma. What we know from our database is that a quiet beta means not much analysis and the active thinking externalized beta conscious mind activity such as amplitudes you're just seeing here in Lihi's alpha mean a relaxed sensory awareness, a connection with through the alpha bridge, the subconscious mind here in the blue, and that is the repository of long-term memory and therefore one's creativity, insight, spirituality. This is the home of essential being here in theta. And then delta in the personal unconscious has a kind of radar, an instinctual radar that extends outward to other people, and empathy, like you just saw, this big amplitude shift here for empathy, or in psychic awareness or the transmission of energy. So with the awakened mind pattern, which, as I said, is what we're seeing with Lihi right here, you see an open flow of awareness from Beta's, the clarity of Beta's quiet thinking mind across the alpha bridge, and the relaxed sensory awareness of alpha into theta's creativity, insight, spiritual awareness of the essential being, and then on into delta's empathy and psychic awareness, and back on up. So the person is awake in terms of being united with themselves, others, and their spirit in the awakened mind pattern. And what we see is more of a gamma pattern here in Ed's left brain, much more amplitude in his left brain. I think they have just moved in the coherence, coherence segment, which is, I think, where your mind linked with one another. You have to zoom Lihi out because her gamma has increased enormously from 10 now to 12 microvolts. And I think we better go to 15. Edd, we can no longer stay on 10. We have to increase this pattern to at least 15. So this is the mind link. You can see that the SEMG bar is quiet. So these amplitudes are not related to movement in any way. This is just brainwaves we're looking at here. Lihi's pattern has changed dramatically during coherence from the awakened mind into way more gamma amplitudes. Ed's mind is quiet at the moment, very quiet, even at 3 microvolts. It's almost an out-of-body pattern, it's so quiet. But not for long. You've seen him flare back up into his gamma. Edd aiming at Lihi at 622. So this is still the coherence segment, and Lihi is showing so much gamma that we have to change her amplitudes to 30. Edd is still on 17 microvolts. And now they're both decreasing their amplitudes. I suppose coherence means a mind link. Edd again goes extremely quiet before blasting out into all this alpha, or rather gamma. And she's gone very quiet too. But this does seem to be the segment in which Edd is aiming at Lihi, and you see both of them increasing with left brain, Edd to left brain gamma here. And then they both flare up into high amplitude gamma. Lihi is still producing a pretty balanced gamma, actually. Very different from her opening baseline readings. I believe is the beginning of Lihi transmitting to Edd. He's producing a beautiful gamma synchrony pattern here with extra theta down at the bottom, meaning that he's going deep and high at the same time. Lihi's activity is mostly in her high frequency gamma or left brain gamma, but she doesn't show this left brain gamma. She's transmitting with the dual hemisphere gamma. He seems to transmit and receive with left brain gamma. And see, Edd seems to be taking her gamma into the depths, just theta and delta, forming a very strong circular pattern at times that looks like the evolved mind pattern of bliss, unity consciousness, universal awareness. So you're moving back into a mind link with each other at the moment, and neither of you transmitting energy, but possibly mind walking. Let's see what's happening. The patterns do seem to be growing more similar, with her more in a left brain gamma dominance at the moment. Edd's gamma increasing. Both of them with a left brain dominance, which I think we can safely say is Edd's pattern that Lihi is synchronizing to. We will get the biophoton readings from John later. She's maintained very strong alpha, and you can see they're moving, both of you are moving back into your original patterns. Lihi with her awakened mind, strong alpha. Once Edd goes still again, well, now he's moving into Lihi's pattern. But in a few moments, we'll move back into his gamma, no doubt. Actually, this looks more like the mind walking that I would have expected with coherence rather than the baseline. Lihi has opened her eyes, therefore her alpha is disappearing a bit. Here's Edd moving back into his typical pattern. Once this settles down, you'll see it with the left dominant gamma. But you can see if we start this session over that your brainwaves have undergone a great deal of change. Both of you retained amplifications in your brainwaves. But most importantly, at the moment when Edd aimed at Lihi, here there were massive increase in Lihi's energetics, so that we had to move her out to 20 and 30 microvolts. Lihi was aiming at Edd. It's as if Edd is taking up Lihi's awakened mind pattern, although he does go back into his left hemisphere gamma. Lihi's gamma remains huge. See some of that in summary. Amplitude increasing for Edd. She's aiming at him. But also we see more amplitude in his beta and his delta.
Well, I'm excited now. Let's do a demonstration and tell us what you're actually doing because you're emanating energies now,
Yes,
just sitting
You're
here.
feeling it, I know.
Yeah, I'm feeling something. I'm a little
Okay,
dizzy.
so what we're doing here, everybody stand up and you'll
You're gonna
feel
turn-
it better. So right now, me and Lihi are resonating our energy. It's just vibrating back and forth. And so we're building up the voltages here.
How are you doing this, vibrating? You're just sending the intention.
So
Okay.
very much the intention. I know how to do it in my brain, so I'm kind of like the control
Yeah,
computer.
and I'm
She's the
already-
power center, but
What-
she's picking up
what do you
on it.
feel?
It's already expanding.
Okay,
I'm
go-
already
I wanna
on the
interrupt you. Go
expansion.
So if you're standing up there, we'll set up for demonstration purposes a gravitational wave. So you're standing there and you should be rocking. Your fingertips should be starting to tingle. All right, now I'm gonna pull everybody forwards. Okay, I'm letting off of it, reversing the polarity, and I'm pushing everybody. Now, if you have any aches and pains and stuff, you'll notice them start warming up on you here. And I'm letting off. Now I'm going to reverse the polarity and pull. And Lihi's energy is like the power source, just cranking it up in me here. I could do this before Lihi, but now it's so much stronger. Now I'll reverse it and push. By now, your body should be warming up slightly. Fingertips should be tingling good and feeling just this whole energy field increasing. Now, I teach classes, and getting Lihi to help me, and the teaching of the classes of letting everybody sit in the field of energy. That's what teaches you, just kind of like we're doing right here. And as Lihi moves her hands in and out just like that, you'll be able to feel those sensations run through your hands. Feel the pressure there when she comes in. You'll feel it come apart, kind of like expanding. So this is how we do our healing activations. See, I grew up knowing and understanding that there's no such thing as a healer. The healing mechanisms are built within the bodies of everybody. Only I can heal me. Only Lihi can heal her. But we can take our voltages and project people, and it cranks the voltages up in your body so strong that your healing mechanisms start working at maximum efficiency. And in a sense, we charge your batteries up with the amount of power we're able to produce and radiate. Okay. All right, we'll lower it back down now.
Oh, you don't lower it. It was
Well,
I was feeling good. Can we
okay.
talk and keep it high?
Yeah, we can keep it high and just keep it through the rest of the show.
Let's do it, because
All right.
as people watch, they get.
So as y'all watch and as we talk, you're gonna feel warming and feeling all kind of great energy running through you.
I was feeling a tingling in my hands and,
Yeah.
and a clarity.
Yeah.
How is that recorded? Because I'm feeling it live, but how is it recorded on video?
It's not recorded on the video. They found out way back in, Dr. Levingood found it out, that in my voice is a 2.2 hertz signal that is generated magnetically like a magnetic wave, and that's recorded in your video. Okay, then he explained it like this. He said, when I do these things, I'm sending this signal out, and when it goes into recording, so anybody in the future hears me talking or whatever, they're getting a signal they cannot hear, but it's triggering their brains to lock into the quantum field.
But it's not just hearing, I mean, yes, but also I'm feeling the energy that you're emanating. It feels like a love energy, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what's happening for you?
Yes.
Where are you?
Yeah, I
in
mean,
that?
I feel it. I mean, I feel it more on a pure state of love.
Like you're emanating
Yeah,
love.
pure state of being. That's where I go. And I love, like I said, I just love having a group that I could raise the vibration, because it's raising the energy of the density of, like, let's say, the emotions, the anger, the shame, the guilt. All these things are actually being metabolized. It's unintegrated energy, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical. And I was telling also Ed, because of my background,
As in psychology.
yeah, it's I don't know if you've experienced it, but I think people that end up getting this vibration and going to an increased or higher frequency or a higher level of awareness, there's going to be a lot of the suppressed, a lot of things that have been in the subconscious that are going to be coming up as well. You know what I mean?
But you say it could bring up issues that you have now, the tools to work with.
Absolutely. But I also think that, or I know that it's also it's a great, great time now in humanity to actually do this energy work.
Why
Because
is
I
it
think
now?
people are really open to it. I think a lot has been going on as far as there's been a a lot of things that have been actually in the subconscious are now coming out, and it's showing up all over the world, you know, whether it's in politics, whether it's in relationships and stuff like that. So it's actually a very, very, it's fertile ground right now to actually do this type of work.
And you know what I'm noticing about you is that you're shifting, because I've known you a while. It's like you're coming out, you're dropping into more of your essence, more of your being,
Yes.
because of this work with Ed.
That's right, because what it is, I'm becoming the embodiment of all these higher levels of consciousness. It's actually it's landing inside my physical body instead of just walking out on this on this one level dimension or one level of consciousness. I'm actually embodying it, and that's really our birthright, you know, to integrate all those levels and bring it down here. And what Ed and I are doing.
Exactly. In the EEG studies they do on me at Dopp's lab at the University of Virginia, when they wire 128 wires into my head, and we do days of programming and stuff, they learn, like I said, all my brain is operating all the time, and it's operating on all levels of consciousness all the time. So that's how I'm able to process this energy.
So you're really living, you're in a different world. Your world is more totally energetic. When you're looking at people, you're not really seeing them, you're feeling their energies.
I feel their energy, I feel their emotions like she does, but I don't have the ability to put in the love. I'm just a masculine, kind of bear, rough guy in the woods there, and boy, she just smoothed me right out.
With her love.
People have been noticing a difference as far as the feminine coming into play, whether it's in their chakras, whether it's smoother energy, whether it's a more love energy. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, we complement each other beautifully.
So you're picking up on her love, and it's your stuff is not as harsh or
harsh anymore.
Right, and it kind of adds a flow.
Right, and it's like he's in the unseen and I'm in the scene, and we're actually meeting. You know, he's the formless and I'm the form, because his level of consciousness is coming from the unseen, and you know, and I'm here in form, hence the masculine and feminine. So it's really like a sacred marriage in a sense, because we're actually we're meeting like and bringing it down here.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Wow. So how has this changed you personally? I mean, I see how it's
I'm
changed.
very, very excited, because I just feel like this is going to have such an impact on in humanity. I don't know how it's going to look, but it's the unknown, which I love, and I'm going for it. You know what I mean? I feel like a responsibility to do this.
Yes, it's time that you've come out.
Absolutely,
and share.
And I'm here to do that.
So what does the future? I mean, we have a few minutes, but so tell me what the future of your work together looks like.
It looks like we're probably going to go into more of this healing activation. We're having phenomenal effects in our Zoom webinar rooms. We're seeing an increase. We got repeat people coming in there now. Once they experience this, they come back over and over and over, and they're all seeing an increase. And the level of power that we're able to produce is just doubling, seems
Right,
like every week.
And I just want to say also, I know that this is going to have an impact on the mental health field.
Oh, really? How, you think?
First of all, Ed, you've worked with autistic kids.
I've done studies where I work with autistic kids, kids with anxiety, kids with depression, and it'll be a published papers coming out from Dr. Robin Oppenheim in Atlanta, Georgia. And I've worked with the kids, and all I do is teach the kids how to get in touch with their energies, and boom, their problems going away.
And I feel like it's going to be helping people who have been diagnosed with schizophrenia,
Really?
because they're accessing different realms. So, I mean, I also work in a psych hospital, and I have a private practice in Manhattan and Long Island, but I've met many individuals that have had diagnoses such as schizophrenia. And I'm actually, when I see them, when they're having, let's say, a psychotic break, I can actually meet them on that energy level of that.
And you send them that love energy.
It's there, and then I'm the ground. Then
and how does that if they're
they become. I'm like, whoa. They become. I mean, not necessarily every single person, but they know now where home is. Someone is actually recognizing where they're at. So I'm bringing them down here, and they become more rational and more logical. And then they're explaining their fears. They're actually talking about it.
So this is really replace the next level beyond psychology. This is
absolutely. That's what I see. That's exactly
meta psychology.
Yeah,
this is
absolutely.
This is very exciting. What are you feeling there, Ed?
I've just got electric fields in my hands. I'm increasing it so that everybody in the audience out there can just be revving up, feeling all this. This is something all of you should be having all the time.
Well, I'm feeling here. Do that again. I was just feeling a little buzz there. Let's just do it out there, and I'm feeling like a tingling in my body.
You should be feeling tingle. It should feel like you got gloves on, kind of like there's an electric field all the way around you.
And really, the more you do this, the more you the stronger, the more in tune you become with this.
Yeah.
So anyone could do this who's watching, and they'll pick up on their own energy field.
Exactly.
And this is how healing starts.
This is how I teach it in my classes. I don't teach by talking and running my mouth. I teach by turning it on, let people feel it. They feel the different parts of their brain start lighting up and sensations in there, and they're able to then to remember that. Just keep doing it.
How come how come it's not always on? Why are you turning it on and off?
Well, we got a generator, and I consciously rev it up, or I let it slow down a little bit. It supplies power to the other areas of the brain that is otherwise dormant in everybody. So it's a matter of teaching people to turn their generator on to supply the rest of the brain the power it needs to operate these other levels of consciousness.
But but when you're actually just talking regular conversation, are you using
I'm
that
just a
part?
tiny bit of
Because
it.
you have to actually adjust yourself in a sense, right?
If
Using
I'm
different
gonna,
aspects
obviously,
of
I'm
your
doing
brain.
one thing. If I'm gonna do a activating your healing systems, then I'll turn the power way on up in this and radiate into you, and then your systems pick up on what I'm doing, and they come online.
Well, it's like with you, what you were just doing before. So like to do that again, it was feeling very nice. Like do that like energy.
You can't have expectations.
No, I don't have expectation. I was just feeling something when you were doing that. And then when you started talking, you were using another part of your brain, and it wasn't as strong as that was. But when you were like beaming, then I started to feel that
She'll be as
energy.
strong all the time here in just another month. So
It's great. I mean, I feel like I have a new toy to play with, my brain.
Yeah.
Great. How can people reach you?
People could reach Ed and I at lihiandedd.com. You could also reach me at my email address, lihi@lihiandedd.com, for private sessions and group events. You could also reach Ed Edwards at
eddedwards.com.
And they'll be able to find like a schedule of events that you're both
Yes.
doing.
Well, I will be posting the events. I'll be posting the classes and the healing rooms on my front page.
One more question. Do you feel there's any limits, or do you feel like this potential can take you?
It's unlimited. It's unlimited. It's infinity. That's really, it's infinite. Like this,
It's infinity. What do you mean? The energy that comes
because it's coming from unseen and over here. So this is really actually right in the point is where I'm meeting Ed. And I feel that between me and him, as we're actually building on this energy, the masculine and the feminine, we're building actually a whole brain, where the
left and right
feminine and
brain.
the left and the right
I'm one side
hemisphere.
of the brain, and she's the other side of the brain of this energy being, in effect. So we come together and we create this one being, which is a combination of both of us together. We're kind of like bringing source here.
Yeah, in fact, I feel like there's been more communication. I'm becoming more and more tuned into my brain. I'm feeling a bridge between the left side and the right side.
Beautiful.
Actually showed up in the EEG.
Yeah, that showed in the EEGs clearly when we did the deal. We wired both of us up into the same computer and in the bioenergy lab. So we were getting biophoton counts of over 300 coming out in there in spikes. And then you could see my brain. When my brain would rev up and share with her, the biophoton count revved way up.
And the more you work together, the stronger this is getting.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I just see it as bringing up the vibration to a pure state of love, pure state of being here, more and more and more. And the more, and it's beautiful to be in this position because I'm getting the reflections of it all. I mean, a lot of the feedback that we've been getting and a lot of the testimonials, it's always moving.
And we're having phenomenal effects with children.
Beautiful. Thank you both for being here today. I really appreciate your work, what you're doing, coming out into the world, because now is your time. I wanted you to come out early, but she hadn't had the right platform. And this was a perfect platform.
I said to you before, because everything else was always limited.
Yeah.
I've always have opportunities coming my way, but this is coming from nothing. From nothingness to fullness, it's emptiness to complete fullness.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for having us.
Of course. Well, let's leave on like some of that energy. So let's pour it out there, and we'll roll credits, and we'll just beam our way home.
See, right now I'm feeling right now this whole energy field right now with so-called Ed and so-called Alan. And I'm actually experiencing both of you within me.
We're like an electrical gaseous
It's just
cloud
that,
right
yeah.
now.
I feel you.
You know? Yeah.
Feels like a tingle.
It's enjoyable.
Yes.
It's very nice. Well, I'm just going to close my eyes and thank everybody for watching today. Give me some feedback. Leave comments here about what you're feeling. And we'll maybe do more shows as this work evolves.
Go back and watch it several times and it'll get stronger and stronger.
All right. Hi, everybody. That was an interview I did with Lihi, who's the energy lady, Ed Edwards. And we invite everyone to join us on Zoom. Ed, why don't we start with you and talk about that EEG that we saw? What was going on in that video?
Well, they had us both hooked up to the mind mirror, and we were at the Ryan Research Center inside the bioenergy biophoton lab. So we had several different instruments taking readings on us all at the same time. So we had the photon multiplier tube reading the biophotons that our bodies were emitting when we were generating these extra gamma pulses, EEG waves that we were radiating back and forth in there. Not only were our brains in sync and resonating together, but that union was producing biophotons that were measurable, over 300 photons per half second and stuff. So we were getting a lot of this just dual stuff going on. So all that does is really just prove how our brains are resonating really good. So we take that resonating brain activity and can bring it up together and then project it out all over the world.
Right. And Lee, what were you feeling at that point when that was going on? Are you with me?
She's muted.
Oh, can you unmute? Let me see if I can unmute you. I can unmute you. Oh, go ahead. What were you feeling? Oh, wait, you're not. What were you feeling?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So when we were resonating and going in coherence, I felt like we were one energy being at one point. I was completely not in my physical. I was a being. I was an energy, a pure energy being. I felt like we were in this one big bubble. You know what I mean? Like just traveling. It was remarkable. Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when they said to you, you were mind walking, what did that mean?
Our minds were just kind of in a resonating flow of energy. They were not really like in our physical. We were like just out there in the ether, just kind of entangling.
And it's interesting because my brain waves naturally are balanced. But when Ed came into play, what I found is that I opened up and went into gamma, which is a very, very high level brain wave. And then we started kind of being in the same, on the same brain wavelength, whether it was gamma, whether it was beta at one point. So he actually, that's when I felt like you were giving me this electricity and I just opened up to it.
Yeah, like we learned with me that I'm operating simultaneously on all levels of consciousness, whereas everybody else is primarily in just one level, like alpha primarily when they're awake. So, but when I resonate with Lee, I can then cause her brain to also resonate like my brain does. So it was firing off in all or multi levels of consciousness at the same time, like mine does. And then that just opened her on up there, and we just resonated in even better. And then we started taking that resonant energy and applying it to people.
But you know what, Ed? I feel that when I'm in resonance with you, he's giving me his level of I'm being received from his level of consciousness. Otherwise, I would not have anybody that would be receiving me on those higher brain levels of awareness, higher levels of awareness. When I'm with, go ahead, Alan.
No, finish that, because I wanted to ask people on the Zoom if they had questions, but finish that thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, so it's like incredible. It's like I have somebody to actually accept my levels of awareness, where normally I go into another level of frequency, but with him I can actually raise my vibration and just meet it. And I feel when we're actually in resonance, there's information that's coming down that's unprocessed information, you know, that's not here yet. And then it gets manifested.
Great. No, it seems like quite a good team there. Let me just ask for people who joined us on the Zoom. Did anyone have a question for Ed and Lee about their work or anything you saw in the video that we just showed? Yes, Juan, welcome. I can't hear you yet, Juan, but
Juan?
your mic. I'm looking. There's someone online who wants to talk to us. But I'm not hearing him. So I just wanted to say, also, you're going to do a demonstration. Oh, Juan, are you there? Not yet. Are you going to do a demonstration? Okay, yes, go ahead. What's your name?
My name is Missy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, very well. Okay, and then we'll get to Juan after you. But yeah, what's your question?
Yes, Ed is said multi-level of consciousness. What is that for somebody that does, like, in my mind, he's talking about maybe different densities, or like what is that? I'm trying to visualize what he's saying multi-level is.
Okay, multi-level meaning that part of my brain's operating in alpha, another part of my brain's operating in beta, another part of my brain's operating in delta, and another part's in theta, all at the same time. Whereas everybody else that they do the EEG studies on is primarily just one part of the brain operating in one level of consciousness. And that's what kind of like freaked them out when I got a hold of the lab 5 years ago. I've been now at UVA for 5 years, and every time I go in there for the brain mapping, my brain's all levels of consciousness simultaneously all the time. And we do a lot of experiments where they'll call me up and get me on Skype, and then the computer will run the thing, and I'll sit here in this little shop I'm at in Georgia and transmit energy using all those levels of consciousness all at the same time, and the equipment picks it up in the lab at UVA up there. But they really believe now that because I'm able to sew all the levels of consciousness together at the same time in my brain, and this started when I was a child. I've been playing with this energy very mischievously my whole life growing up and stuff. So it wired my brain up a little bit differently than the other kids that got it conditioned out of them. So I can do all kinds of things with it. So why these universities enjoy studying me, because every time I walk in the lab, I can make things happen.
Right. I mean, Lee, you can also talk about how you've been working with energy your whole life too. Do you want to share some of your
I mean, I come
story?
more from the divine, the love, you know, the pure love energy, and I've always had that connection ever since I was little. I would always look at people and kind of see them beyond the veil, whatever emotions they were presenting. If they were presenting anger or rage or sad, you know, I would just see their wholeness. I would just see their essence. And so I've always been aware of this energy, this source energy from the feminine. And I've actually had a very difficult time actually connecting to someone, especially the pure masculine, in a time where I feel people haven't really been during growing up. I really didn't meet people. I would meet people that were not really seeing the pure feminine in me. So, I mean, I don't know if you see there's a difference between the pure feminine and the woman, or the pure masculine and the man. So, the man basically is more, I would see men looking at me more from an egoic perspective, from need, from attachment and things like that. So I was always attached. I was always seeing the purity in people. And I've always kind of wondered about that, So meeting Ed, it just kind of opened up this new place that I'm almost looking at the way love relationships on Earth, or on this planet, are actually shifting and changing to a new paradigm, because I think more people are awakening to a pure state of who they are, or I'd like to see it that way, where there will be more relationships or more connections that are happening between the pure masculine and the pure feminine, which is one being, source on this planet. So in a sense, meeting Ed is actually giving me a platform to actually bring this out in my work with Ed. Also in the work that I do as a therapist, I now do with my clients. I do energy therapy. So it's basically dealing with people's emotions on a psychological level, and then dealing with the higher energies. You know what I mean, and integrating that. And as you integrate that, I really see people becoming more whole within their mentally, physically, and in all ways. So yeah, so it's basically meeting Ed has opened me up to all this.
And meeting Lihi has calmed me down there and made me behave better in public.
Right, I have another question from Juan. I think it's working out, Juan.
Yeah, I do have a mic. Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you.
Wonderful.
For our question.
Okay, so I didn't actually have a question, but I can ask. I've kind of just discovered Ed and Lihi, and so I'm 23, and I've been struggling with a parade of health issues for months now, and it's I work with a lot of alternative healing practitioners and all, and it just keeps getting worse. So yeah, but I really felt the energy in the previous video. So yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
can you send Juan some energy or do something right now to help?
sure.
Juan, what is it that you want to, if you're okay to express it? I mean, what is it that you want to, what is it that's bothering you, or what is it that you want work on?
Well, it's many things.
Okay.
But so go ahead.
You can go
No,
ahead.
what? Like, for example, what were you going to say?
So for example, my nostrils, my nose gets blocked from time to time, and especially when I'm sleeping on either side, it's like one of them gets blocked, and I lose sleep every night because of that.
Okay.
You could have a food allergy was the first thing that came to me, but what does that have to say?
Okay. Let's bring this out. Is that static there? Okay, there it goes. When I work on people, I don't work on anything specific. I treat and work on everybody identically. I'm not working on any specific problem in people. I work on activating the healing mechanisms that are built in people's bodies and activate the higher brain functions that control those abilities and then power up your system. That way, I don't have to know what's wrong with you, and I don't have to hear anything that's wrong with you. It's not my job there. I'm not treating or diagnosing anything. But when I tune up your you know, like you felt the energy in the video, and then like in person or over the phone or whatever, we crank your energies up so high that your higher brain functions start taking off and running like mine do. They
Mm,
kick in with more than one level of consciousness at the same time, and then that activates these healing systems that are built into your body. You know, so our purpose is to activate your systems, charge your batteries up a little bit, crank it up, and then your body does all the healing. It,
mm,
it, it approaches everything. And then Lihi there, she adds in with her side of it there and brings into the consciousness, brings the play of the brain, then that stuff into play, and brings the mentality, whereas I balance in on the electrical energy and stuff. So
mm.
we work in a resonance.
So
Yes.
it's interesting that you mentioned also. So in terms of activation, what about the psychic perceptions and all that in people, like the ability to see into other dimensions? Like, can you also activate that in people's brains,
But
or is that a different thing?
when your
Yeah.
brains start operating at higher levels, all kind of doors open up.
Mm.
Mm.
And that's something that like everybody can do, because you hear this of no, like that's a gift that only certain people have, and that's
Nah,
not true.
you have the
Everybody
system
has that
built in.
potential.
Everybody
Hmm.
has the
Everybody
potential.
has
It's
it.
just takes a understanding of the working mechanisms, about the generating system that is above normal, and then being able to take that power that you can mentally produce and apply it to the other sections of the brain. You take off and you
Hmm.
start doing things.
So this is
You're gonna
like
do it.
a yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
so I
go ahead.
uh-huh.
You're gonna do
Okay, so I was gonna say, so this is like a shortcut in a way to like all those years of meditation and all that, and like,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, they say that I'm like meditating all the time.
I mean,
Mm.
I would look at it as from my perspective. I would look at it. It is it's a whole new landscape, completely different landscape than what we're actually living right now in this linear time. And I think that it is. It's like quantum. It's quantum. You know, quantum. Everything happens on a quantum level. And so that in itself, when you look at it as a whole different speed of light that's occurring on those other levels or other frequencies. So that's like, wow, what a shortcut. What I
Mhm.
see as actually the integration is if you're actually because as in our humanness, we're still working out our on on a on a humanity level, we're still working out different unresolved issues, like with anger, with shame, with guilt, with emotions. And what I see
Mhm.
as once we actually kind of as a collective heal ourselves in on this level more and more with psychology or that level of therapy, psychotherapy, and now bringing in this other energy, higher energies, that's where I see it actually exploding, us discovering what it is really to be human as our birthright. So in one hand, when you say a shortcut, it is a shortcut. But in the other hand, it's really having to be also somewhat grounded. But what I'm seeing in my work as a therapist, it's what's happening. I don't have to go through stories like I used to, or work with people for like a half a year on a certain situation. Things are happening like this more. So there's consciousness is kind of flooding down now. You know, it is kind of coming into play. And with Ed, it's cracking
I'm
me up.
messing with Alan's lighting.
Oh, you are? Is that what you're
Oh,
laughing about?
thanks, Ed. You're messing with my lighting. Thank you. I thought something strange was happening.
You see, so this all of a sudden comes into play. He's like kind of working, and all of a sudden, that's like you jump into that space. So it's I don't know. It's just very very interesting. It is a shortcut in some ways.
Well, let me just hear from. Thank you, Juan. I just want to see if Deb, who's on the line here, has a question. Do you have I'll unmute you if you have something you want to ask Deb. You're welcome to. to join us.
Not any questions particularly. I was fascinated to see the results of your brain scans. I'm delighted that you included that in the program. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, something happened when you lined up your brain frequencies, like you were one person or something. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, our brains come in resonance. That's what they mean by resonance there. Our brains, it's like I'm one side of the polarity field, Lihi's the other side of the polarity field. So we're just cycling back and forth and we're resonating together. So
It's
our
almost
brain,
like it's like I was on an ocean in a way, on a sea. It was just like we were just kind of traveling like this, and then later he would come, and then I would go, and we would just kind of move in a very. It's like a dance. It's like the tango, in a way. And it's beautiful because you're actually meeting someone else on such a level that you can go anywhere. That's what I see. You know. When you go to those, when you're functioning on those different wavelengths. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Well,
bring everything in.
Could we do a demonstration here to everyone on the Zoom and everyone watching on YouTube? I'm just going to remove everyone's camera so we can just get you two on the line there, and then we'll just let me just.
Nice to see you, Deb.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deb. Yes. Yes.
And everyone else.
I'll just take people's cameras off, and then I will just. Okay.
As long as they can just hear our voices, it work fine. Yeah. If everybody out there would stand up, it would work even better. You'll feel it stronger standing. Okay, everybody stand up. And what happened to Lee there? She disappeared on me.
Yeah, Lee jumped. Oh, I don't know what happened to her, but go ahead. She'll come back on Zoom. So go ahead.
Did she jump? Did she get bounced out? Or
I think she did.
accident?
She'll come back. She'll come back.
All right.
So just start the energy and we'll get her back, okay?
Okay. And everybody just stand up there. I can feel Lee's energy. That part didn't disappear.
I'll find her. We'll
All right.
find you somewhere.
Okay, and I'm gonna pull forwards on everybody. This should have a forward pull to it. Okay, and I'm gonna reverse the polarity and push. Now I'm gonna let off. I'm gonna reverse it and pull again. And this should be starting to warm people up.
Is this healing energy that we're feeling, Ed? What would you call this?
Well, this is healing activation energy. Like I say, the healing mechanisms are built into everybody out there. This energy of this, all I'm doing is changing the polarity of the flow of the energy from positive and negative back and forth. And by doing that and aiming it at people and then it locking in with people, it causes your systems to start functioning. And then it kind of starts resonating with my systems, which then goes into your systems and activates your higher brain functions. And then it just, things start taking off and working the way they're supposed to.
Right. So it's you're syncing up the body so the body becomes a self-healing mechanism.
Correct.
Okay. We got Lee back in the room. She should be joining us. And I don't know. What does she add
There she is.
to the energy flow.
Well,
Let me get
like I said there, I could feel her right then, even though she got kicked off on the video, I was still feeling and resonating her energies in. She's like, I'm kind of like the computer, the operating brainwave, masculine side of it. And then she's like a power station. And and another way of looking at it, it's like we're a 12-volt battery. I'm like the negative pole and she's the positive pole. And so it takes both of them to create the flow of energy, this DC voltage or so. And so like when we're radiating out like we're doing right now, I'm just taking her energy into mine and amping mine up with her energy and recycling it back and forth, and then radiating it out to all of you. And so
Lee,
your
can you
finger,
tell us what you, oh, go ahead.
yeah,
I was just going to get her in the picture. Tell us what you're doing, Lee, as you send energy.
Right. I'm actually feeling right now, I'm feeling the resonance with Ed, and I'm feeling, you know, the vibration that we're at, and yet I feel the collective, I feel the field. And it was interesting because when I got off the screen, you know, it went out, I was really feeling it extremely strong. So it's like non-local level of connection. I'm feeling right now the whole the field.
and it should be wobbling you around a little bit if you're standing up still there.
Great.
Your fingertips ought to be tingling, and some of you'll even be warming up. Oh, and I worked on a couple of people with the coronavirus today and had some really good results with it too. So
With a what? What did you work on?
Coronavirus.
the coronavirus.
What do you do for the virus? How do you help that?
I just increase the electrical fields in people's bodies and it breaks them out into a hot sweat real fast. And they just started feeling better and better.
Can you send this to everyone watching on the YouTube stream now, both of you?
In a manner we can, some, yeah. Like I said, we're just cranking your systems up here. You're getting the same thing
and the way
every time.
Right. And the way I see it as well, in addition, is that I'm sending out this pure state of love vibration, and having Ed as I mean, he calls it as the battery charge. I see it as he's the consciousness and I'm the energy. But I'm actually the one that's actually bringing out this heart energy, and this pure state is actually, in that pure state, fear can't stay, anger can't stay, shame can't stay. So fear right now is extremely is you know, is something that's occurring right now with everything that's going on. But as I'm actually you know, transmitting this energy, it's just like nothing can happen. It was interesting because I was with my father, and we happened to actually touch each other. We were connecting and everything like that. And what came through me is when we kind of connected, he was holding my shoulder and I just happened to hit his arm, and we were like in a full like an embrace in that way. And what came out of me is like no virus can penetrate that. And what I felt at that point was complete wholeness, you know what I mean? Complete heart, complete love. And it just was like, whoa. And if we were all that way on the, you know, everybody here collectively, more and more and more, we would all be actually, nothing can penetrate us except for beauty and love. That's where I come from.
No, that's great. That's so sweet. Yeah. Do you want to work on, well, we have one person who has a camera online with us on Zoom. Do you want to work on an individual? You want to keep working on the collective? We have a bunch of people on the chat who say they feel their fingers tingling.
Yeah, they should be kind of
So,
pinprickly, kind of like
yeah.
pinpricks and stuff. That's the
Yes.
that's what Dr. Levengood called charge density pulses. You remember
That
Dr.
mean?
Levengood?
I do.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he
Well,
studied me for
what does that mean,
14
charge
years.
pulses?
Do what?
I know, but what does that mean, charge energy pulses? What does that mean?
That's these pulses I'm generating. It's creating these little tingly pulses that's going out, transmitting out, and you feel it in your fingers. It's the little charges, the plasma charges. You
Okay,
know?
let's maybe do a little focused healing on someone on the Zoom. Of course, everyone's invited to come on. Let's see, I could put, yes, someone unmuted themselves. Do you want to work on Ed and Lee to work on you?
Absolutely.
What's your name again? You said
My name is Missy.
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 Okay.
Missy.
Do you want to put your camera on? You rather not.
Oh, I can put my camera on. I've
Put your
just been
camera
working
on,
all day. Okay, hold on.
And we'll work on it. This way it's a little more live. There you go.
Okay.
Nice setting behind you. I didn't know you. The Golden Gate. Okay. Actually, I could put that. But go ahead. What you want them to work on? Anything in particular?
Yes, I have some addictive behaviors.
What behaviors?
Addictive?
Oh, addictive behaviors. Well, everyone does. Welcome to the club. But sure, what they can work on that. Can you do that? That you guys help that?
Yeah, some there.
Yeah.
Now,
Because I believe in the, like how Ed was saying that we have that capacity within ourselves, in our DNA, to heal ourselves. And so if that is what it takes, is for me to realize that, to get work done now, so that I can activate that within myself.
Yeah, we can just kind of like turn it on. You're fading out there. You're turning invisible.
It's really
Right.
sunny here.
Yeah.
In San
I'm
Francisco?
outside. No, I'm
Are you
actually.
now, why do you now you know how would your life look like? I mean, your addictive behaviors. Have you been working on them at all prior?
I have. I don't know if I mean, mentally, I realize, it doesn't kind of vibrate with the way I'm trying to move my life forward in this community where we're awakening and we're seeking answers and coming together to meditate, like, collectively, so that we can change the vibration of Earth right now. And so those behaviors are just totally contradictory to what I'm trying to accomplish, and I can't seem to understand why. I mean, I don't know what to do, quite honestly. And
so don't try to intellectualize it or be mental with it. Okay, it's just that it's a vibration. You're ready to move to a higher vibration and bring and transcend that. You hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So what I want you to do, okay, is I want you to envision, okay, I want you to envision these higher, the frequencies and the vibrations that Ed and I are actually going to be resonating and transmitting towards you, okay? We're going to be transmitting now. As we're transmitting that vibration and that level of consciousness into the lower levels, the addiction is the need. It's the nervous system that's addicted to that. So I want you to allow that energy to come forth, allow the energy that's coming up as far as the, imagine the addiction moving through your heart into the higher levels of frequency and vibration. Okay, so now as Ed and I are going to be transmitting the energy or resonating our energy, I want you to just be completely open to healing and bringing in all those, inviting in all those higher levels of awareness to you, and being okay with dissolving the past, being okay with dissolving this, whatever it is that draws you. Because you're meeting, why is it that you, what is it that you want to, where do you want to go towards by letting go of your addiction? What I know it doesn't serve you, but where is it that it's, where do you want to move with that?
As far as the addiction or moving where do I see
Beyond.
myself after?
Yes, beyond.
Beyond, I see myself working with energy as well. Like I've been obsessed with Dr. Rice and the energies and how that can heal people and sickness. Like that's where I see myself, like just getting humanity, you know, down that path where we're healing ourselves, or we're no longer sick and we're no longer dependent on pharmaceuticals or
Okay. So allowing, exactly. So allowing that energy to come in and integrate within all the levels is actually is letting go of the need for anything that you know, the pharmaceuticals and everything like that. So it's about bringing in the purity or the pure state of all those levels. So Ed, you want to transmit? Okay, so I just want
Yeah.
you to just stay
I'm just gonna lock into you, Lihi, and just resonate it up, and you focus it in on her.
I want you to relax. Let go of any stories. Let go of old thoughts, old patterns. And come meet me. Come meet everyone in our hearts. See that love. Envision that love. And be that love. Come. Come. Any angst, any guilt, any shame, any resentment, bring it to my heart. Give me everything and anything that's kept you from being who you really are. Come, bring that energy through my heart all of you. Bring me everything that doesn't serve you. Anything that doesn't serve you, bring it through me. I love you. I love you. Meet me in the purity of my heart. And now, as you all come through, Ed and I will resonate our energy and integrate all levels of this awareness and consciousness. With Ed being the pure masculine and me being the pure feminine, we are embracing you and transmitting this energy right now. Where we all become one.
Got me tingling there, Miss One. Strong stuff you got there.
Ed is actually giving me the ability to receive an energy or a consciousness this pure state of consciousness that encompasses all. Who am I? Who are you? Who is she? Who is he? We are all it. We are all it. We are one here right now. And I would love, and I am right now feeling this garden of love. I'm opening to this garden of love. I'm allowing this garden of love to come, to be intimate with, intimacy with all of you, each and every one of you. With no name, no identity. Who are we without our identity and without no name? Beautiful being. Beautiful, beautiful beings. Here with so much beauty, so much power, so much potential to be our full-blown selves. One with humanness and one with God.
All righty. That ought to get us going there good.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Let me just unmute you. How are you, Missy? How are you feeling?
That was powerful. I could definitely feel that.
Great. Great. Good. It will stay with her for a couple of days, right? You talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
Mhm.
the process.
Yeah, this is something that actually goes into deeper levels of your consciousness and even your subconscious. So different things will be revealing themselves, and you'll be staying with an energy that's going to be there for, you know, as you go on. It's very subtle, very profound. Mm.
Yes, I definitely believe that. And thank you for doing that. I'm so grateful.
Mhm.
Well,
There's
thank
so much
you.
love to you. You know what? You can do anything that you want to be. You are it. There's just a fracture that's occurring. You are it. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got me all relaxed there over that.
Can you talk about what you might have coming up for people to do like a fun
Yeah,
thing with you guys?
we're working on, like I say, the coronavirus kind of put a monkey wrench into everything, but we had different big events that we were going to be going and doing, but so we're more focused now online of doing our group healing rooms where you can find access to them when we post them through the Lihi and Edd.com website. And so we lining up. We'll probably do one next week sometime. We got to get it on the books and have these group rooms.
Hmm. Yeah, and you can also, I have a Facebook, Universal Love Integrations. And also if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask me, I also have email lihi@lihiandedd.com. And I'm also doing private sessions and also doing the group work as well.
Yeah, now Lihi handles
Lihi.
more. She handles more of like the stuff that deals the brain, the psychological sides and stuff, and then I deal with more like physical, like neuropathy, actual pain systems and things there. But I'm not so much into the mind side. That's where we work good together in the group there, because then we can cover both sides of it really well.
It's like a cohesion that takes place. It's like
Hmm.
the whole brain.
But
Yeah.
individually there we can take you on, and she's does much better with on the her type of stuff, psychological type stuff, and I'm more like the masculine brute force. I'll go in there and electrify the pain and cause your systems to immediately take effects on physical stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And what I do is basically I'll work with the psychological, anything energetic on this on a lower vibration, and work with those energies psychologically and therapeutically, and actually integrate the other energies as well. So I basically have basically getting I mean, sometimes you may be so ready for like being self-realization or being awakened, but there's just this. So I kind of tune in and hone in into that and clear those blockages. So it's very, very exciting for me because with what I do in my background, but I don't know if any of you, if you saw the interview, it's basically I'm seeing it as these energies, these higher levels of energy and these higher levels of consciousness is really the key to healing mental and physical illness. But at this point, I'm still actually being the bridge between the two.
Mhm.
So again, if anybody wants to get in contact with us, what is it, lihiandedd.com?
Yes, Lihi-and-edd.com.
Right. I'll put that in the chat
Okay.
actually. And then
And then
they could do a private appointment with you?
They do private like that, link up with Lihi probably through there. And then if they want private with me, they can find me through the ededwards.com.
And your next public event is when?
We will probably do one either later next week. We haven't got it on the books yet. I'll have to check because Leahy's got to drive back into the city and reestablish. So once we figure it out, it'll probably be Tuesday evenings. That's when we normally do them. If it
It's a
works
Zoom,
into her schedule.
it's a Zoom room like this?
There's a Zoom room like this. And we'll we normally charge $24.95 for it. And we do an hour to 2 hours, you know, it just varies, you know, at least an hour. And then we really light you up. I mean, the more people in there, the stronger it gets. It's like stacking batteries up.
Great. Well, we've got a lot of batteries to stack up. Well,
That's it.
Thank you both for being
Thank you,
on.
Alan. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank
Always
you,
such
Alan.
a pleasure to
Thank
connect
you,
with you and
Missy,
do all this.
Dawn, and Deb, for being on the Zoom, and everyone
Mm-hmm.
watching on the live stream on YouTube. And Ed, tell them again, and if you watch this over and over again, they can still get the healing, right?
Yeah, watch it over and over again. You'll get the effects. Stand up, and it'll just keep boosting you up a little bit and stuff. And then if you want more specific type stuff, come find us.
Yes, and you'll be back in New York at some point too to do some.
Sure, as soon as y'all clean that city out some, clean that corona out of there.
Okay, we're clean. Okay, we're cleaning it up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
get rid of that stuff, and I'll come back to visit.
Okay, they're working on it. They are. Thanks everybody, you know, who's been.
Thank you. We've enjoyed
Thank you,
it.
Alan. Thank you, everybody. Much love.
Yeah.
Bye
bye.
I think next live stream will be on Sunday at 2 p.m. So tune. I think we're going to talk about the Pleiadian agendas with Christina Day. So anyway, always fun to do these things. Thanks. And I'll see you both sometime soon.
Sounds good. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.